Hello, hello. How are you? Welcome to our Don't Be This Girl podcast.
Yes, we are back and happy to have you guys with us again. Cyndi,
Yes.
how are you doing?
I'm doing so well. I am Cyndi Galley, one of the co-hosts of this amazing podcast, and I'm with Yvette. How are you doing, Yvette?
I am good. Thank you very much. Over here, just enjoying the day, enjoying the weather, and what we're about to talk about today.
Yeah. So this podcast, we're actually super excited. We're really excited about all of our episodes, but I feel like this one is just so meaty. And Yvette, this is something that you were like, okay, we got to talk about being hungry and not coming off as being so hungry.
Yes.
Hungry.
Don't be hungry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is such a big thing. And honestly, I heard two amazing gentlemen talking together about this on a podcast, Mr. Ed Milet and Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, Matthew.
Makes me want to just hear his voice, but
oh, great voice.
Such a great voice.
Accent. Love the accent.
Yeah. And you know what? He was talking about that. Like he was talking about how when he first came to Hollywood and he had his agent and he was just like, get me in front of this person, get me in front of that person. And I need to do this and I need to do that. Like he did not want to put a halt on what he was doing. He had done one thing and he was just like, I need to get out there. I need to talk to every person, every producer, blah, blah, blah. And the agent was like, no, like, I'm not going to set those up for you. And, Matthew was kind of taken back, but the whole point of what he was saying was that this guy was like, you need to just go on vacation. You need to go take some time for yourself, and I think the agent knowing that you're about to blow up. So you need to take some time for yourself. But the premise of what he was talking about was don't be so hungry, because he knew if he put him he made those appointments for him and he put him in those meetings with these producers, he was going to be a fool. He was going to look like a fool, talk like a fool, because he did not know how to present himself yet. You know what I mean? He was kind of green. And so he was telling him, like, you can't
talented, but green.
Hungry. Yeah. And one of the things that Matthew said was that, it was about a mindset shift that can transform your reality. And I was like, wow, that is so good, because sometimes we come out and we're like, I need to find a man. I need to find this man that has this and this and this and this. And I'm going to go put myself out there and I'm going to talk to somebody. And let me tell you, sister, you are going to scare him or he's going to think you're a fool. Two things we don't want to happen.
Yes.
In the beginning of what we want to become a relationship, And
sure.
So I just thought that was so powerful. It's like, we have to kind of get that mindset shift. So where are we as women going into, okay, for example, Cyndi, as a single woman, going into looking for a man. Now, I know this about you, like you are perfectly happy where you are and what you're doing and accomplishing and all of that. So you're not out there at the bar trying to find this guy,
Not anymore.
Yes.
There were those seasons, girl.
Yes.
And where I was coming off as really hungry.
Really hungry, right? But there are those women that are still out there now. And I'm not talking just young women. I'm talking about women our age.
Yes.
That are still out there, trying to find men in all the wrong places.
Yes.
And they may have this belief that, and this is something we'll be talking about later too, is that sex is love, and it's like, no, you cannot put that first. And if you're putting yourself off to be so hungry and so about like, let me just give myself to you. And let me open up all the doors now. Like a man is going to look at that and he's going to be like, okay, I'm going to take you home. I'm going to take advantage of you. And then I'm never going to call you again.
I'm going to be done. Yeah. And once you're gone and you're out the door, you will never hear from me again, or vice versa. Once I climb out of your bed while you're still asleep, you'll never see me again. I think there's a couple of things we're talking about being hungry, and it's not always sexual, because like even in our book, we talk about several hungry women. There are several hungry women characters in our book. it's 12 fun chapters, each attributed to an icon of a rom-com, except for the chapter number 12 is a TV show, TV series. But, we have Ira Simpkins from The Holiday. We have Bridget Jones from Bridget Jones' Diary, Sabrina Fairchild from the movie Sabrina. Already, let's see, Maggie Carpenter, maybe not so much, but Dorothy Boyd, yes, Very Hungry, and Katie Morosky, Very Hungry. And all these women, the book in itself is about cringy behavior from single women in the plot to find love. And then we're looking at it and we're cringing. We're saying, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Why are you behaving that way? And so sometimes it's just this behavior to land a man. It's like, I'm going to act this way. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to chase you. I'm going to buy you gifts. I'm going to go after you, even though you're not pursuing me. I'm pursuing you. And the man is running the other way. Like, woman, get away from me.
Yeah. Don't be buying men gifts in the beginning. Like, I just don't get that. Like, why are you buying him a gift?
Oh, yes.
The gift is conversation at this point. Like, if you guys can have a good conversation, and it's so funny. I make fun of myself. I'm old, and these are the things.
You're not old. You're not old.
But I think differently. Like, before, I would have thought about, God, I hate to say this because it makes me sound really bad. But there was a time where I thought, like, yeah, I do need to know that our sexual relationship is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think about the man that I'm going to be able to sit on my porch on a rocking chair, having a conversation, watching the sunset.
Yes.
And it's like, that's kind of where I feel, that first meeting should be about. Like, it shouldn't be about like, okay, hey, let's go get, a room at Motel 6. It should be like, can we have a conversation?
Of a car.
Oh my gosh, right?
Which is actually how I got pregnant. I got pregnant in the backseat of my car at the age of 19. Yeah. I mean, let's just be real, and so, but you go ahead.
Yeah.
That's another podcast.
That's another. Yeah. But it's like, I just think we need to slow it down a minute.
Yeah.
And as I say that, I'm reminded what Matthew McConaughey had said in that interview was, once he went out, he went on this journey. He found himself. He came back. He was so chill. He was out of that, that expectation of Hollywood. And I got to go and get in front of every producer and every writer and everything. And he was so chill. He came back. And then that guy made him those appointments, to sit with these people. And they were just like, oh, okay, I have this for you. And he's like, yeah, okay, great. And that was it. He was so chill. He was so not hungry. They wanted him more because he had this sense about himself, that his mindset had changed. And now he had this sense about himself where it was like, okay, I know how good I can be or how good I'm going to be for you.
Yeah.
And he just let them figure that out. And him not jumping at it and being like, gimme, that set him on a trajectory to be who he is today, because then those people wanted him and more people started to call for him and want him. So that is so cool to me because, if somebody who is a star like that, and what we have to remember is, even in Hollywood, you and I both know this, even in Hollywood and stuff, you don't just make it overnight.
No.
So why do we think that in a relationship, it's going to happen overnight?
That's
okay.
Good.
Now there could be love at first sight in the way of your eyeballs.
Really lust, because you can't love a person,
Yeah, it is. It's lust at first sight.
But yeah, I know what you mean. That. It's like, oh, they took my breath away.
Girl, that'll take your breath away too.
Let me slap some I loved common sense into you.
Yeah, I loved Moonstruck. Did you ever watch that with Cher?
Oh gosh, years ago with Cher.
And Nicolas Cage, and that one part where she's just smacks him across the face and she's like, snap out of it. It was always my favorite part just because it was just so funny, like that she would even smack him like that and he was just being so stupid. But sometimes I think we need that, right? Sometimes we need to just pull back and just really look at what it is you want. And I think we've talked about this so much. It's like really knowing who you are.
Yes.
Knowing what you want.
Yeah.
And is what you want aligning with something bigger? Because you could want a lot of things. And, for Cyndi and I are believers. So, we believe in, like, the heart can be a deceitful thing. It's not, go follow your heart. Your heart is deceitful.
Yep.
So, we need to, like, first figure out what it is we want, who we are. Don't let that I complete you thing happen, like on Jerry Maguire,
And that's one of our chapters is the Jerry Maguire movie. So yeah.
And it's like, let's not do buy the book, read the book. Don't let that happen to you where, you need to find out who you are and what you want and really write those things down. Because sometimes we have our head and we fill it with things that we think we want, or we look at another relationship that our friend is having and I'm like, oh, I want that. Have you ever had that? Like where you see a girlfriend that, just has what looks like the perfect relationship that turns into the perfect marriage, that turns into the perfect parenting couple,
It's been years.
We kill ourselves with that,
It's been years for me, because really for me, that was almost my downfall in my 30s, was looking at what other people had that I did not yet have. And yes, I had several boyfriends, probably by the time I was 30, 33, I could probably say like real boyfriends, like maybe 20 boyfriends, I was not in a lack of boyfriends, and so then, cutting all of that off really to serve God and to serve the Lord. And I think one of the things, if you find yourself and you're that hungry woman and you're just wanting, hungry like a wolf, like Duran Duran, that song, just hungry. I'm so hungry. Oh, I want, it's like, if you find that that's you and just in the natural, when it comes to finding a man, then girl, you are hungry. You need to tone that down. And there are things that you need to do. And we talk about even some of these things in our book, like, let's just take some time to reflect. Like, who am I? What do I really like? Are there things that have wounded me that I still have not yet been healed from? Do I have, the lack of dad syndrome? I know for me, sometimes I struggled with the stepdaughter syndrome and abandonment syndrome. My mom got remarried when I was 5, and then she sent me to go live with my biological dad's mom, my grandmother, when I was 6. All of those years until about 4 years ago, I just felt not wanted. I felt rejected, and that played a huge part in some of the way that I acted out, because I felt like I wasn't wanted. And if somebody, something as simple as like being at a restaurant and them saying, okay, we're shutting down, we're going to ask you to leave, that kind of a thing, it would just make me feel rejected all over again. I mean, something it would trigger that. So it would cause me to think of myself in a certain way. And so sometimes we carry these things, we carry baggage, we carry hurts with us from the time that we're a young kid, so we're not even fully healed from that. And so this is the time, as single women, even as married women, let's take a look. And I know we keep plugging the book, but really so many have said about our book, Yvette, that it has just brought such healing and eye-opening, because every chapter, like, it's funny, and we kind of talk about the different characteristics of these iconic women in these romantic comedies that we love, My Best Friend's Wedding, The Holiday, The Way We Were, but yet we do have them take a look at themselves and say, okay, where are you not experiencing healing and wholeness? Where are you still hurt? Where are you still broken? Have you ever seen yourself chasing after a man, and taking advantage of him, or, whatever the different characters done? And what do you need to do to allow that healing to take place? Like, if so, then come on, let's get real. And then, we all know about that positive affirmation, but for us, it's the word of God. God's word is the ultimate truth. And we know this because his word has radically changed our lives. Amen. And so to say, okay, what does God's word say about me? And I mean, yes, the Bible does talk about hunger and thirst, but it's for righteousness.
It's not for that guy.
Yeah, if you're gonna be thirsty for righteousness, that kind of a thing. And so even in in the first chapter, we talk about words to remind you of who you are. I'm a woman of value and of great worth. I, along with others in my life, see me as a wonderful person I am. I not only treat others kindly, but I am also treated kindly by others. I will be the first one to honor myself. Psalm 139, I'm awesomely and wonderfully made. And we just go on and on. I love
that about what we did. I'm not trying to be like, it's all about us. Not at all.
No, but it's a tool. It's a resource that people have been using, and I love it.
Yeah. And this is why it's in there, because, you can read a book and you can just be like, oh, that was such a great book. And then you can forget about it. Mm-hmm. But this is really helping you to ask yourself. There are these questions in the book. So it's not just a read book or just, pictures. Mm-hmm. And, it's kind of like a workbook, because we want you to be able to work on those things so that you can really, truly get those things that you are longing for, but in a responsible, patient manner, because sometimes,
honoring,
let me tell you, my life up until I was 44 years old was not about patience. I literally have a tattoo this big on my back talking about patience and about love, because I didn't have any. And I knew that it had to be a reminder for me to say, like, no, this is what love is,
Amen.
This is what love is. And I need to be patient, and I need to not try to make things happen, which I'm an A personality gal. Like, I have to try to make things happen all the time. Same. And, I'm clearly we're not afraid to speak, and, but when it comes to relationships and stuff, sometimes we just need to take that back and just kind of like, just step back and change that mindset,
Yes.
And it is going to transform what becomes your reality. And I just love that. And that's why we're talking about this subject today.
The mindset. Yes.
Yeah. Because let me tell you, if anybody is the coolest person in Hollywood, it's Matthew McConaughey. He's so chill.
He is so chill.
And as we've seen,
and very, very skilled at what he does. He's uber talented.
Yeah. But he's passionate. So he's laid back, but passionate, and he speaks about the things that he's passionate about. But we have to give ourselves that time to know ourselves and to create, create a real list. Right. We've both had our issues with our lists in the past that we've created. We want this guy. We want this type of guy, and then how our lists have changed. Your list changed a ton, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think it just goes back to that time, using this time as a single woman to really learn about myself. And I've made so many mistakes in the past, both before finding Jesus, and then kind of, also having some bumps along the way once I did find the Lord and was serving him, and we talk about that. I talk about some of those, things that took place in my life as you did yours in our book as well. But it really is just taking that time for yourself. And, we talk about, you talked a little bit earlier about even the running to sex. It's like when women find themselves running to sex, and really at the end of the day, I do believe that it's because they're still in search of love. And there's this lie or this thought, like, if I give myself entirely to him, then maybe I will receive the love that my heart desires. And again, it goes back to the movies that we see, which is why the book, we see these movies and it's just like, oh, well, she did that. Oh, well, Isabel Fuentes had a one night stand, and she ended up, finding the love of her life, because what does he tell her? Alex Whitman says, you're everything I never knew I always wanted. And we're like, oh, I love that.
First of all, you cast Matthew Perry, and everybody wants to hear him say that.
I know the late Matthew Perry, and how we loved him. so much. And also it's so heartbreaking to find out just recently the cause of his death was that overdose of this drug that a few people were
Somebody
dealing.
was drugging him, right?
Yeah. Anyway, that was, and I know that's not what this topic is about, but my heart just broke. I mean, so many of us just loved him, of course, even in Friends as Chandler, but anyway, just going, back to saying, we find that we identify with so many of these romantic comedies and we want the love that they have, forgetting that these are scripted. There are script writers, like they are doing their job well. They are pulling at our heartstrings. They're making us believe the lie that if you do this, if you have a one night stand, if you give your whole body, you will end up married to somebody as dreamy as Alex Whitman, and then live happily ever after.
And this
little
starts
bumps along the way
as early on as toddlers. Like,
let's be real.
When you are watching or allowing your child to watch some of these Disney movies and things like that, and other movies, I'm just not going off on Disney, but we're always taught that the Prince Charming and this guy that's gonna just listen. We don't have castles in California, okay? I mean, maybe one, but the Hearst Castle is taken. Okay,
Hearst Castle in Northern.
That one is taken. The state has that. Okay, you're not getting that.
It's true. Cinderella. It was Cinderella for me. I was little, and I loved. She's still my favorite princess.
Yes, like I love even watching, these new age movies that have come as spin-offs of that. And it's because
not new age,
exactly what they're.
But you're saying newer, like the remake or the newer version.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Don't get me started on that subject. But it starts so early on for us where they are teaching our children love and what these cartoons think love is, or what the prince should be like and stuff like that. So we do, and this is why this book, we want to get it into the hands of young girls and colleges and stuff like that, because this is starting so early.
It does.
And I don't know what the statistics are, maybe we could look it up later, but of how many girls, how old they are when they start having sex now. It's so scary because you think about, I think about even when I was young. And then I think about, now being a mother and a grandmother, the age I was when I first started having sex, holy smokes, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
I didn't even have a brain yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you don't even have a brain fully until you're in your mid to late 20s.
Your mid-20s, yes.
Which is why I tell people, why are we trying to change people? And why are we telling them it's okay when we don't even know who we are? I mean, I was struggling from, teenager to 27. And then I was like, oh, this is who I am. Like I found who I was at 27, not at the age of 8, not at the age of 12, not at the age of 18, not at the age of 21. No way. I was so far not even knowing who I was. And it's like, come on, society, people, parents, teachers, educators, government, like, let's wake up. I know that's not what this topic is about, but
apparently we need to go there.
We don't find who we are. We don't even know who we are. We don't come into it until we're in our late 20s. Where's medical talk? Where are the doctors that were talking about this when I was in school? Why are there not a lot of people speaking up about this? So yes to all of that. We try to figure out who we are. We're curious. We don't know. It's what's this, what's that. It doesn't mean that you need to be a boy. It doesn't mean that, when I was a little girl, I think I told you guys maybe in a different podcast, maybe it was a new thing. I was 8 years old and I cut my hair like Michael Jackson because I had a crush on Michael and I wanted to like channel him into me. Not because I wanted to be a boy. I didn't want to look. And then the minute someone said, oh, you have the cutest little boy, I cried my eyes out. I go, Mom, please make my hair grow back. I was so heartbroken because I didn't want to be a boy. I was a girl who wanted to look like Michael Jackson. But in today's world, they would be telling me, oh, you must want to be a boy. So we're going to just, come on. Come on, parents, wake up. People, wake up, wake up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think with all of that, like, we need to take control back. And this, you guys, ladies, men, whoever's listening to this is why we're doing this, and not to that extreme, but this is why we're doing this. This is why we talk about it. This is why we wrote the book, because we lived through all of these things. We made a ton of mistakes along the way. Listen, you saying you found yourself and who you were at 27, girl, I struggled with this throughout my life until I was in my 40s, because I thought I knew who I was when I was 14. I thought I knew who I was when I was 16 and trying to run away from home because I wanted to be independent and blah, blah, blah. I thought I found myself in my 30s, after like my sobriety and stuff. It's insane to me going through, I'm writing my other book and going through those timelines and saying, wow, I thought I had it together. I thought I knew what love was. I thought I knew who I was and what I wanted. And honestly, without me becoming a Christian, which was it was such a big deal in my life, because I grew up Catholic, and, I did all the things I was supposed to do. All the traditions were there. But I never really felt like I had a relationship with God. I never felt like I never really read the Bible to where it made sense to me and where it spoke to me. You know what I'm saying? And then I started to find myself. And, from the time I was probably, I don't know, I want to say late 30s to mid 40s, I started to really study that and to really get to know who I was.
Yeah.
Was I still at the bar? Was I still trying to meet the wrong guy? Was it? Yes, because it takes time. You're not going to just wake up one day and say, I got it all together. I'm grown up. I'm perfect. I know it all. I still don't know it all, and this even conversations with you and, other podcasts that we listen to and things that we learn from, it's a constant learning. You're constantly learning. And if you stop learning, be scared. Okay. Because there isn't a time in our life where we should stop learning.
We know it all. Yeah. And I think that's so good. It reminds me of that Romans 12:12, where it talks about, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed. Like there's a transformation that should always be taking place. So be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We have to constantly renew our mind daily, and then sometimes several times a day, constantly casting down arguments and imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, against the knowledge of his word. But the Bible says to be transformed by the renewing of our mind, so that we may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And if we're not renewing our minds and all we're doing is feeding ourselves the songs, the love songs, the romance. I mean, back Urban Cowboy, they were singing about looking for love and all the wrong. I mean, that's a real thing. That's what we did. That's who I was. That's who you were, looking in all the wrong places, but we really were looking for love. No matter how hungry we came across, or maybe we were really hungry, but we didn't come across as hungry. Because I can say, there were times I probably was really hungry or thirsty for a man, but I just played it off as cool. But I'm telling you, I'm still single. And I did not end up marrying any one of those guys, whether they were a long-term boyfriend, a short-term boyfriend, or just a make-out session in a bar. I'm with none of them. So who leaves empty? Who leaves zero? Who leaves and you go back home and you're back in your home by your bed, in your bed by yourself? It's me.
Yeah, you're hurting yourself. Yes, ultimately, this is what's happening when you're making these decisions. We've talked about this before, who you're hanging out with, who, your girl gang is, or whatever you want to call it. you're out there, you're putting yourself out there, you're doing these things. Maybe your girlfriends are pushing you towards it. No, stand up for what you believe and what you know is right.
Be
Okay. Once
confident
you've
in
gotten
that.
there,
Yes.
do not let your girlfriends push you on to this different kind of lifestyle. Even I just saw some posts on social media yesterday, and I was like, I have had deep conversations with this person before about God and about love and about relationships and things like that. And the content I saw, although very well put together in a cute video, I was like, what are you doing? Is this what you want to portray and show your daughters? Because it was not good. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't, I don't believe it's something that she would want to transfer over to her daughters. It was fun. She was having a great time. And, and I even catch up in it going, oh man, what a great scene. You're on a yacht, you're with friends, you've got these fun inflatables and stuff, but then, maybe the alcohol's flowing and maybe things are being done that are going to be looked at, just like I did. I looked at it and I was like, girlfriend, why are you doing this? And putting it all over social media so that people think that's who you are, when in fact, it's not who you are.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's the fun thing. And sometimes we want to portray the fun things.
Yeah.
And be looked at as the cool girl, the fun girl, the party girl.
Yeah.
And in all that time, hurting yourself and your spirit and not finding the one that you love.
That's right. In our book and in every chapter, I love that we do have, places for you to write and for you to really think things through. And we even have coaches at the end. We've got coaches that are willing to work, that want to work with women if they feel like they need to take it a step further. But, just some of the things that we have, like these are no-nos, but yet women will look past that, dating somebody who's already married. And even if he's separated, he's still married. Like, come on, if you're hungry enough to say, well, I'm going to still, he's separated, he's still married. Constantly coaching women, incredibly gifted, smart, talented women, some who even, might say, I'm a believer, I love Jesus, but yet it's like, oh, but he's separated. No, but he's still married. I just also feel like, the hunger, the one that comes across hungry. Let me see here. We've got, being with somebody who's mean, disrespectful, and not honoring, even to his parents. How does he treat his parents? How does he talk to his mom? How does he treat his mom? The way he talks to his mom, the way he treats his mom is probably the way he's going to treat and talk to you. So if he's disrespectful to his mom and he's disrespectful, to his parents, he's probably going to treat you even a little worse. But yet sometimes we're so hungry. Well, I'll just look past that. I was like, oh, my, a guy that I dated in college, his friends all said, he's cheating on you. And I said, it's okay. I love him. Why am I so hungry and so desperate that I was willing to be with a man who was cheating with me on other women, even with one of my friends? I know that I was told it was one of my close girlfriends that he also had slept with. And here I'm so hungry that I am willing to look past that. It's like, may those days for anyone watching, listening, be over and done with. You deserve so much more. We're asking you, do the work. And I love what you're saying, Yvette. It's surrounding yourself with people, your friends. May the friends that are with you be the ones that are encouraging you, lifting you up, speaking words of life to you, instead of trying to drag you down to their level, because there are those that will do that. But I'm telling you, sis, you are meant to soar. You should be soaring and flying with the eagles, not down there clucking with the chickens, right?
And let me tell you, if you allow this in your younger days,
yes,
more than likely, unless you get yourself to the point that we're trying to say, to get yourself to, with belief in yourself and worth of yourself, it is going to continue all the days of your life. I just talked to one of my friends, and his mom is going through the same thing right now. She's in her 60s.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The age doesn't matter. It's a mindset.
No.
Back to what you're saying. It's a mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And she's going through this, and it's the saddest thing. And as he's telling me about this story, I feel so bad. But at the same time, she has allowed herself to be in this position where she lives with their father. They live in separate parts of the house. They are divorced. But now, you know, I mean, they live in the same house, so they still have a relationship of sorts, right?
Sure.
And sometimes a little bit more than not, you know, it's you're male and female, whatever, you know. But now she's finding out that he's in a relationship with one of her friends. And it's so hurtful, not only to her, but to the kids. The kids are pissed off, you know, they're like, how could you do this to our mother, even though they're divorced? But it's because of what she allowed in the relationship prior, in her own relationship with him. And then how she continued that, because we have said it before, if you are in a place to where you can move on. And if you need resources that will help you to get to that point, then please, you know, put your hand up and ask for help and make that phone call, because as uncomfortable as a phone call could be to admit that you're in a situation, let me tell you, your life without that and just ignoring it is going to be 10 times worse and more embarrassing and heartache after heartache after heartache.
Yeah.
So, and this is our heart for you, is just
that is our heart. Absolutely.
Put your hand up. You know, the white flag, not the red flag. The white flag has to come up. Surrender and just say, help me. Can somebody help me that has gone through it and that has the resources that will help me move forward?
Yeah. So putting your hand up, ladies, if this is you, guys, if this is you, putting your hand up in surrender, saying, I need help. Sometimes we can't do it on our own. And that's okay to admit that. Like, let's be vulnerable. We don't have to come across as like, I know it all. I'm good. I got this. No, we don't got this. It's in those times when you say, oh, I got this, that you go, oh, I really don't got this. And I know, because again, been there, done that. I think Yvette would say the same, been there, done 100%. That. So surrender, call for help. You know, invest in our book or other resources that are going to help strengthen you, and do the work. You know, that's what we, like Yvette called our book a workbook. At the very end of each chapter, there are times for you to reflect, to write, to pause, and to strengthen yourself, strengthening your heart, strengthening your hands, strengthening your mind, so that you do have that great mindset that she's talking about. And sometimes, let's be real, sometimes you have to disconnect from the things the things that are dragging you down, you know. And the other thing I would say is stop looking at your past. You know, you were talking about our behavior. I mean, I remember I feel like I was in first grade and I was cornering a boy in the corner of a bathroom in school, and I was trying to make him kiss me, you know. It's like so embarrassing. Well, you know, I got those images from things that were in my home and things that my parents were watching. You know, they didn't realize, but really those things play into how we carry out our lives. And so, like, do the work. Forgive yourself for the things of the past. If you need to go and approach people and say, I'm sorry, will you forgive me? Do that. But really, I've never plugged our book so much as I am right now, but Don't Be This Girl. And somebody read it and said, it is such an incredible book. I actually want to buy it for my son.
Oh, great.
You know, Don't Be This Girl, because of all of the work that we have people do. And it's not a fast read. It's a fun read. It's a good read. Some have said it made them cry, but they really worked through it and they just felt so much stronger and so empowered. And we don't mean empowered by like, oh, all the women independent, throw your hands up at me, but it's like independent and empowered to be you, to be lovely, to be kind, to contribute to society, to be healthy and whole. So you can just be that fun, incredible, fabulous woman that you really are. And you deserve the very best, not a man who is going to put you down and verbally and lock you away. Yvette's talked about that, locked up in the bedroom and pregnant, you know, and willing to be, because, oh, but I got the man. No, but no, you didn't got the man. Because if you had him, he would have had you out and saying, this is my girl. And she's
instead of being with another girl. Right. While I was pregnant.
Exactly. Again, hungry. Like, just how hungry are we? That's what we'll call this podcast, is how hungry are you?
Yeah. And we
Don't
ain't
be
talking about food.
That's right. So this
Not
has
on
been
this podcast.
That's right. But we love being vulnerable and honest, and just kind of going back to what Yvette said. This book and this podcast is to strengthen you and to help you, and maybe someone that you love. So share the podcast. If you haven't yet, get the book. It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. The ebook is also available. And start a book club. All the things. Yes. But it's such a good read. And we're not just saying that because we wrote it.
Yeah, right. It's not about us. It really isn't about us.
No, we're saying it because the feedback we're getting from so many people, and just all of the comments and emails and direct messages and texts. It's been wonderful. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode of Don't Be This Girl. We love coming to you as frequently as we can with all that we've got going on. It really matters to us to be able to strengthen you and to encourage you in this manner. And I don't know, what do you think, Yvette? Anything else?
Our podcast on Spotify
and Apple, as well as if you're watching us on YouTube right now, we're also on Apple and Spotify. So there's several ways where you can connect with us, and also you can go visit our don'tbethisgirl.com website. But do the things, do the work. We just want to empower you. And may this be a year, an incredible year of breakthrough like never before, where you're not just going back and making those same mistakes. And look, we've done them. So we're not saying, oh, why are you doing those same dumb things? Oh, we've done them. We've been this girl. Okay, this is why we could write this book, because we've been this girl. But truly, we love you. We don't even know who all of you are, but we just love you. We love the female community. We love even the male community. We just want to see you soar and flourish and who you're supposed to be. So thank you guys for tuning in. We love you, and we'll see you next time on Don't Be This Girl.
Girl.
Bye.